Ready? All right, it's Monday, big day. We're going to 5-step equations. This is who's been listening and who's been doing and who has not. We'll find out because all we've done every single one of these steps. You just need to do that particular step. That's it. So we're looking at distribute, combine like terms. There will be an extra variable. Remove what's subtracted and multiplied and divided. So you have to follow those 5 steps. If you have this reference sheet, you need to get it out because you are going to be following it. So get it out because that is your reference. So here's telling you what to do. That's the the lines with the parentheses. You can see it. Multiplication. That's this portion right here. You do that multiplication there. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is -8. -4. -8. And then you just bring everything else down. So it gives you an example. Numbers don't matter. It matters the process. Know how to do the process. Because they're all going to be the same. It's just numbers are different. That's it. So let's look at number 1. We're going to do 3 examples. Otherwise, this video is going to run long. So we're only looking at this portion of it right here. This part is what we're dealing with. The rest of these numbers can come down. Draw a line. All those numbers can come down. That 4 can come down, the equals, that -31, and that +7x. Why? Because we're dealing with that distribute part. That's all we're doing, the distribute. You ignore everything else. Plain and simple there. 7 times 1, because we forget about this side over here for a second. 7 times 1 is 7. We need to put a plus there because 7 is positive. We need a number between those, or an operation between. Now we cover up the 1, and we have 7 times 2. That's 14, and they have an x together. We can see they have an x. The 2 has an x, so there's 1x there. Again, 14 is positive, so we put a plus there. Red marker is done. All right, a whole new problem. If you look up here, I can literally hide all of that, and I have a new problem. So look up. If you're on my board, if you're ever looking, all that rest of that up there is gone. That's why I draw that line. So I ignore what's above the line. What is the next step? What's it say? What's the next step? Chris, look at your thing. Combine like terms. Can I combine anything over here? On this side? Yes, what can I combine?
4 and 7.
The 4 and the 7. Why the 4 and the 7? Because they don't have the variable. Very good. And 4 plus 7 is 11, and we just bring down that plus 14x. Take the equals. Can you combine anything on that side? No, you can't, because this does not have a variable. That does have a variable. You can't combine them. Remember, distribute and combine are per side. So just bring that stuff down. That's it. The only thing you dealt with was what was in the circles. The only thing you dealt with was this part here, the distribute part. You just do the process. If you do the process, you're going to be fine. All right. The next step says what?
Remove
that extra variable. So I prefer the lowest one. What has the less value, 14 or 7? Here's the variables. What's less value, 14 or 7? 7 is the lesser value. We don't look at these two. We're only looking at these, the ones with the variables, because it says remove the extra variable. So we're looking at those. 14 and 7. Well, 7 does. So it's plus 7, so we're going to subtract 7 from both sides. Make a note that I put the x's with the x's, or the variable with the variable. You can't do -7 here and then try to subtract it from the 11. That doesn't work. Now, guys, look. All you got to do is end up, I can take anything that was left, 11 and -31 and the equals. I can bring that all down. Then I have to do the operations inside the circles. That's why we're doing this. So I know exactly what I'm working on at a given time. This is gone because those are opposite operations. That's plus 7x minus 7x, which gives us 0. And 0 plus negative 31 is negative 31, so it just stays the same. And then we'll add here, subtract 14 minus 7. That's 7. Am I done with that side over there? What do I got to put here? Plus sign. I don't know where you got division from. That's the very last thing we do. Well, we're not to the last thing yet. Each step at a time. What's after? So we did distribute. We did combine like terms. We got rid of the lowest extra variable. See, distribute, combine like terms, get rid of the extra variable. Remember what happens on one side now is going to happen on the other. Now we're going to move what's added or subtracted to the variable. Here's the side with the variable. We don't even look at the 31. So which number is added or subtracted to the x? Which one, Chris? He said the 7. Which one's added to it? I don't even know why you got your calculator in your hand. No, because the 7's attached to the x. That's multiplication. Remember, if it's attached, the very last thing we do, the division part of it, it's the 11. So since it's plus 11, we're going to subtract 11 from both sides of the equation. You guys have to get to know that. Look, if I cover up the 7, it says 11 plus x, right? If I cover up the 11, it's 7 times x. What's added is the 11. Do you see that? Look up there. 11 plus x. Cover up the 11, 7 times x. All right? So draw the line. These are our opposite operations. They're gone. Anything outside the circles will come down. And negative 31 minus 11 is negative 42. And the final step now, we're going to get rid of what? Does everybody see that? That's the last thing we want. See it connected? You have to remember that's the very last thing. It's what comes down the whole way. What are we going to do? Last one says remove what's multiplied or divided. Yeah, it's 7 times x, so we're going to divide by 7. Not by negative 42, always the number by the variable. So our opposite operations are gone. We're left with x. And negative 42 divided by 7 is negative 6. Huh?
I got just 6.
Negative 42. If 1 is a negative, if 1 or 3 or 5 or 7 or 9 are negative, any odd numbers, your answer will be negative. That's integers, guys. That's 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. All right, there's the problem. Number 2. Try to raise this up just a tiny bit. Try to get more in there. All right, there's that. If we look here, here's our distribute part. Some guys end up taking the 8 because they don't see a number here. Remember, that number is a 1, right? Orange look better. There. There's a 1 there. So that is the part. I want to take that color. Yeah. This is the part right here that we're going to deal with. And it's negative 1. That's the distribute part. The rest of this stuff just comes down. Negative 14 minus 3n equals negative 8. And then we'll have to do plus or minus in there. Well, negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Negative 1 times 4, we're covering that up, right? See it? Is negative 4, and it has an n. So negative 4n. And we forget about the rest of it. Now that whole part up there is gone. All we're concerned about now, we've distributed, there's no distribute here, there was a distribute, we did it. There's any combine like terms, now it's the second step, right? Distribute, combine. Any combine like terms here? What? No, no variable. How about over here? There's 3 terms, something's gonna combine,
Yes.
usually. Yeah, and which 2 are they?
Negative 8 or negative, I don't see that.
Negative 8 and negative 1. Yeah, it's kind of hard, that orange is just about bit it. Negative 8 and negative 1. Why? Because they don't have a variable. So everything else, it's very simple. You just bring it down that's outside the circles. This is all organizational tools, guys. It's designed to help you. So -8 and -1 is -9. And there is an operation that we use that negative as a minus. So we got -9 minus 4n. All right. The next, we had distribute. We distributed. Combine like terms. We did combine. Now it's what? What's the third step? Remove the extra variable. So we have two variables. We have that variable there and that one. So I can cover that one up because it doesn't have a variable. I can cover that one up, it doesn't have a variable. Can you guys see that very clearly? This is what we're going to operate with. So what has the lesser value? -3 or -4? -4 is going to have the lesser value. So now, if you added 3n to both sides, it's not going to be wrong. You're just going to be dealing with a negative number all the way through. So yes, so we're going to add 4n and add 4n. Notice that when we add subtract that we only do it to like terms. Do you see that? They all have n's. You have to do that to like terms. We can bring down that -14. We can bring down that -9 and the equals sign. Our opposite operations over here are gone. And -3 plus 4 is 1, and it's an n. For those of you who are really good with math, you don't need that 1. You can just knock the 1 off, and then that saves you a step, but not. Green is not doing too well either. All right, so we distributed, we combined like terms, we got rid of the extra variable. Now we need to get rid of what's added or subtracted the variable. So there's the variable. So we have two numbers, we have 1 and 14. So start covering those numbers up. If I cover up 14, what does that say? But what's the operation between the 1 and the n? No, it's not. There's no plus in between that n and that 1. This is 1 plus n. Is that what that looks like? This is 1 minus n. This is n divided by 4. What is this? Or sorry, 1. What operation is it? 1 what n? I've only said it 100 times already today. Times. That's times. So that's not the one that's added. But if I cover up the 1, it says -14 plus n. So it's the 14. Since it's -14, I'm going to add 14 to both sides of the equation. Guys, if it's plus, it's got to have a plus between the 1 and the n. If it's minus, it's got to have a minus in between it. If it's a division, it's got to have a line in between it. So if there's nothing there, it's multiplication. You need to get to know that. We've been doing this for 6 weeks now, 7 weeks, 8 weeks. You have to know this. The 1n comes down. Our 14s, our opposite operations are gone, and -9 plus 14, I believe, is 5. Yep. I can simply just knock the 1 off of here. I don't need it. N equals 5. But if you need it, necessary, you want to divide by 1, by all means, divide by 1. It's still 5. 5 divided by 1 is 5. All right, so we're only going to deal with the distribute part. That's this part right here. So you will do the distribute. That's just that part. You don't need to do anything else. I can bring everything else down. So most of this is just identifying what you have to do, guys. Where am I doing this? Well, I found the parentheses, the number attached to the parentheses, because this is 2 times, guys, if you look, it's 2 times all of that. So 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times, and there's a 1 here, And 2 times 1 is 2b. And notice I put a plus here because it's positive. You have to have operations in between, except for the 2b because we don't put one there. And that's 2 times b. That's 7 times b. Does everybody see that? 7 times b. By the way, if you're really bad with your letters, make these capital B's. It's going to be better for you because you're not going to turn it into a 6. I've seen that a few hundred times already. All right, so we distributed. Can we combine like terms? Here's our next thing to do. Can we combine here?
No.
Can we combine here? There are 3 terms, and there's no, I would say, yeah, there's what? 2 and -5. So I can go ahead and just take everything and bring everything down that is not covered up. And I put that plus there just because I'm going to put it. So 2 plus -5 is -3, and I put it here since I already had that plus in front of the b. Doesn't matter, you can put it over there too. All right, we're going to move the extra variable. So we're going to look. This doesn't have a variable. That doesn't have a variable. So I have a 7 and a 2. What has the lesser value? Now my b's are starting to look like 8s. 2 has the lesser value. So we're going to subtract 2b. I would avoid using b as a variable, period, because it can turn into either a 6 or when it's capitalized an 8. Just either way, whatever. I don't like b. It's like an S. All right, so I know that 17 comes down the equals and that -3. It's all outside the circles. So my plus b and minus 2b, plus 2b and minus 2b are opposite operations, are gone. 7 minus 2 is 5 with a b. What operation do I need in here? I already have 5b. What operation? Operation is plus, minus, divide, times. What do you need? Plus, because it's positive 17. All right, we got rid of the extra. Okay, distribute, combine like terms, get rid of the extra variable. Do you see the pattern here, guys? Distribute, combine like terms, get rid of the extra variable. It just goes the same thing over and over again. Now we need to get rid of what's added or subtracted the variable. There's the variable, guys. Take a look. So we're not looking at this side. Is it the 5 or 17? Right, because look, I cover up the 5, it says b plus 17. If I cover up the 17, it says b times 7. Or 5 times b, sorry. Got way out. So it's a 17. So we're going to subtract 17 from both sides of the equation. Our 17s are gone. We're left with b over, or 5 times b. And -3 minus 17 is -20. And what's our final step? Yeah, it's the division part. And we divide by the number in front of the variable b. So we have b equals, and -20 divided by 5 is -4. Do you notice the wonderful pyramid shape kind of thing that goes on there? Upside down. Notice how everything goes like this? It's an upside down V. That's what we're doing. That's why the simplification process makes things easier, so we can get to removing the extra variable, so we can get to removing what's added or subtracted, so we can get to dividing, and then we can get to our final answer, which is the B. Now, the B represents, guys, take a look here. This B and -4, it says B equals -4. That means that B is -4, and -4 is represented by B. So you could go back in this equation and put -4 in here for these B's and solve it. You can replace those, and we'll be doing some replacing later, especially when we get to quadratics. All right, well, that's Monday. I'm only doing 3 because the video gets long. If you need to, just rewatch it. It doesn't matter. Because why? Because it's the process. It doesn't matter the numbers. You could watch the video and do the exact same thing for number 4 and follow along for number 1 or 2 or 3, and you can go right on through it and know what to do. You just have to follow those steps. That's what this reference sheet is for. And you do have it under materials in your Google Classroom. So it's these 5 steps: distribute, combine like terms, remove the lowest extra variable, or if you can't figure out the lowest, any of the variables is fine. You just end up with a negative number. And you know these last 2 steps: remove what's added or subtracted, remove what's multiplied or divided. And look at it gives you the example straight across what to do with it. Here's the distribute part. Here's the combine like terms part. Here's the lowest extra variables. Here's what's added or subtracted to the variable. Here's what's divided. And notice it's always that 3x. So that's the last thing we're going to carry down are these x's. Okay? So follow along with that. You'll do well. Have a good one.